Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, October 24th. Happy Friday, everyone. Looks like we made it to the end of the week. Um, Man, this week flew by pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, we got market opening up shortly in about 7 minutes. You guys, and if you guys pulled up the chart, you guys probably see this huge candle right here, right? This is kind of shocking, honestly, because I wasn't expecting the CPI data to actually come out today because of the government shutdown, and it looks like it did come out. So big spike right there for uh for us. It's not going to affect us too much because our entry is not until 6:36 later on down here. So we'll see. I mean, because of this big spike, it may skew price a little bit. I mean, the AT right now is currently at 12 or 11, so it's not like I wouldn't say it's horrible, but you want to see how volatility moves. You want to make sure there's no manipulation because for our entries here, we don't want to be taking entries when price is being manipulated, of course. And because we had this big spike right here, expect there to be manipulation on open because people are going to be gambling on this move here. So with that being said, we have some more news events at 6:45. We have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. This is something again for me to look at because our entry is really close to that point in time. We have two entries right here, actually, 6:36 and 6:46. So, I might just sit out of those entries because we do have high impact news right here. And then later at 7 o'clock, we have more high impact news at 7 for Michigan consumer sentiment. Again, I'm not sure if this stuff's actually going to come out because the government shutdown, we haven't had news in weeks. It's really weird to see news actually come out. Um, I believe the government's still shut down. I didn't see any updates regarding the government shutdown being over. So we'll see if they come out. If they don't come out, that's perfectly fine. It's not going to affect us too much, but obviously we want to stay away from market manipulation here. So. All right, guys, good morning, everybody. Looks like people are still making their way in. So today is Friday, October 24th. It's 6:25 right now. We got market opening up in about 5 minutes. Let's see who's here so far. Morning, Lila. Morning, Masij. Uh, Morning, Ryan. Morning, everybody. Morning, Sam. Morning, Chris. Yeah, Sam said caught CPI gold move. Nice, nice. Okay, perfect, guys. Solid move right there. Solid trade, solid start. Um, yeah, we got market opening up shortly. So yesterday, I found this to be pretty incredible because so you guys know that I'm registered as a professional trader now, and I'm required to, publish my broker statements to the public so that people can see, that I'm 100% transparent and legit. So I pulled the data yesterday, and it's pretty crazy that so these are all the actual trades on my account, of course, right? Um, Let me see if I can maybe. Yeah, so let me pull this up. Yeah, so basically this is my personal, I have a couple personal accounts. I got two of them. But this one right here is my personal account. You can see that, so this is all the data from like my actual, this is from the broker. This is the actual data from just the algo trades from, what is it? September 29th up until yesterday, right? So basically I started at about 12,000 and currently today I'm at 16,000. So I made about, what's the performance at? Because the thing is, I didn't realize that I was like making that I made this much within that period. It's not a lot of profit, but basing it off the percentages here, it's pretty crazy how much like we made with just the algo. And I didn't even take all the trades. I only took a couple of them, right? You can see here, there's only a few trades here taken from for the whole month period. I mean, there's a decent amount, like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Maybe like 15 or 20 trades there, or actually, check it, 39 trades. So looking at that there, made a total profit of 8,460, loss of 4,260, and then a gross profit of 4,200. And this is off like a small account, right? 12,000. This totals up to about 31.51%. So the algo strategy is currently up 31.51% in less than a month, basically, with all the trades here documented. And I think that's pretty crazy because a lot of people are looking like there's new clients who are joining in for the algo and they're asking for like, 10, 20% for the year. But I'm like, we're up 31.51% for the month, and it's not even the end of the month yet. So yeah, the numbers are pretty crazy. These are real numbers. They're not like it's not a prop account and stuff like that. Like these are actual real cash account totals. Obviously, I have another bigger account here. I'll see if I can show you guys that. So I have a business account and I have a personal one. The business account over here it's a little higher. This is just from this week, basically. Like it was at um 39,000, not 43,000. And these are just statements from my broker because I have to publish them now. But yeah, I just wanted to show this to you guys because, whether you're starting with a big account or a small account, like the percentages are pretty crazy, like with just taking the algo entries because it's so accurate for the most part. Um, so yeah, if you guys are curious, what the algo specifically is up so far for the month, it's up 31.51%. And basically every month I'll be posting my broker statements to show you guys. And this is directly from NinjaTrader. Obviously unedited. It's directly from them. And it has all my trades here specifically. Like if you guys remember, we took that gold trade right here initially, um, when we first tried the algo, and then the rest of the YM trades here. So yeah, pretty cool. And I'm pretty excited for what's to come. Uh, hey guys, morning Mikhail, morning Barack, morning Karen, morning everybody. So guys, we got market opening up shortly in about 30 seconds. If you guys are looking to take the breakout for the day, breakout for the day is going to be, it is going to be a buy entry. Okay, so if you guys are looking to take that, it's going to be a buy entry for the breakout. I'll mark it up for you guys right here if you guys want to take it. Again, I'm not taking this entry. I haven't taken the breakout on open in quite some time. First entry for us to look for is going to be at 636. But again, I'm probably going to hold off on that one because it's so close to news and to market open, but we'll kind of see where it ends up going. So we got a little bit of a spike right here. This is what we were expecting. We talked about this. The reason why being careful here at open is important because we had CPI news come up right here at 5:30. So we got this huge candle here. And yeah, we'll just kind of watch and see where it ends up going. I'm not really looking to get into anything yet, but my first target entry is going to be at 636. It's going to be tricky because we have more high impact news at 6:45 and then 7 o'clock. So let's see how far it kind of came down a little bit right here. Yeah, probably a good decision to sit out of the market first because obviously you can see price here starting to fill this big upwards movement from the CPI news this morning. Let me check the CPI news again. Yeah, CPI was like it was highly manipulated, right? Everything here was negative, but it still pushed up, like how many points? It was negative news and it pushed up almost 300 points. So obviously you're going to see some manipulation here. So yeah, I don't think anybody here took the breakout, so you guys should be fine. The first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna mark up some market structure. Or actually, let's take a look at the overall market first. So going over here to the overall market, so the 1 minute over here is currently bullish. You can see price is slightly above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. It's bullish on the 1 minute. Same on the 5 minute over here. Price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. And lastly, over here on the 15, price is above the pivots. The trend meter is green, and the pivots are angling to the upside. So with that being the case here, on the shorter time frames, the overall trend is bullish. Now let's take a look at the higher time frames down below. The 30-minute, we have the same exact thing, right? Price here is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. Same on the 1 hour, same on the 4 hour. So that being the case, overall here, we do have a bullish bias with regard to the trend. Now, looking over here at the technicals, looking at the market structure, it is currently neutral on the 1 minute, but it is bullish, 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 bullish on the 5, 15, 30, 1 hour, and 4 hour. So you put two and two together right there. Overall trend is bullish. Overall market structure is bullish. Your bias for today is probably going to be bullish, right? I don't trade technicals anymore. I mean, I do look at it to identify volatility and manipulation and choppy markets, but for the most part, I'm not trading technicals here at all. So this is just for you guys to have a general understanding of like where the trend's at and where market structure's at. But for me personally, I'm not going to be using this for my analysis at all. This is for you guys. You guys know I trade off the quantitative data now. I don't really look at the technicals at all. So I'll mark up structure here just so that you guys can have an idea of like, what to maybe look out for. But it's not going to be something that I'm going to be looking at to skew my decision making when looking for entries because I already have my entries already lined up. I know what time and what direction I'm going to be entering. Right now it's just right now we're just waiting for that point in time for entry. So right here, there's a big imbalance, guys. This is a huge imbalance from earlier today. This is the news. So huge imbalance right here. You can see prices breaking, retesting off the imbalance right here. Right. Push up, retest, continuation to the upside. So we'll see what happens here as price continues to move along. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. I can analyze it for you, but I'm not using the technicals myself. Um, Let me put the settings over here. So the first entry is at 636. It's going to be with momentum. All right, so taking a look at my 636 position right here, it's going to come up in about 3 minutes. Obviously, market here is super choppy, so obviously I'm not going to take that entry at 636, right? If you guys want to take it, you guys are more than welcome to take it. Looking over here at the statistics, they're not very strong. So looking at the overall probability. So overall, it's currently a 57.14% probability of it winning in either direction, whether it's for a buy or whether it's for a sell. It just shows that there's consistency here with regard to this entry point. It shows here that it wins 8 out of the 14 previous entries, right? Sample's not the best, but I mean, it'll do for right now. Let me check the screen over here real quick. I want to make sure that it's at the right number. I gotta do this. 800 to is this right? No, no. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Just want to make sure it's supposed to be 15. So let me just adjust this by one day. I don't know why the data over here is. Let me refresh this. Yeah, for some reason the data on the screens is not letting me go all the way to today. Okay. So the algo is pulling up 15 days. Let me just adjust this by one. There we go. Okay. I was on the wrong tool. There we go. All right, so the win ratio is actually a little bit higher. It's 60%. So for this trade right here, if you guys want to take it, it has a 60% overall probability of it winning. For a buy, or overall it's 60%. For buys here, actually has a 75%. So this could be a pretty decent entry if you guys want to take it here. Again, I think this is going to be a little bit of a tricky entry in a sense because of where, we have the news from earlier this morning, and we have news coming up later again as well at 6:45. So if you guys want to take this entry, I'll mark it up for you guys. For me personally, I'm probably going to sit out of this one here because obviously I don't want to get caught in manipulation here. And it looks like price is going to be manipulated a little bit. So if you guys are looking to take this entry here, again, the entry is going to be right here at 636. Candle is going to close in about 20 seconds. Right here, it has a 60% probability of it winning for either direction, buy or sell. It has a 75% probability of it winning for a buy. It's won 6 out of the 8 previous buy entries, and it's won all 3 out of the 3 previous Fridays. So if, with that being the case, the numbers here are actually pretty good with regard to statistics. The only problem here is that a lot of this movement is based off this huge candle push earlier, right? So I actually want all the manipulation to get kind of fleshed out first, and once it's fleshed out, then I'll look for entries. I don't want to be taking trades where a lot of stuff is going to be moving, it's uncertain basically because of, what happened this morning. So entry's currently running right there for a buy. I'm not in the position, we'll be following it right there. Again, the numbers here look pretty good. The only thing here that I'm kind of concerned with for the most part is the fact that, we got this huge candle here, and then we have a high impact news coming up over here at 6:45. So if you guys want to take it at your own risk. Obviously, this trade looks pretty good. I'm probably going to wait until after 7 for my entry, so I'm going to look for entries down here. It's just there's going to be a lot of uncertainty as we build up to the 6:45 news event, and then also at 7 o'clock. So if you guys didn't check the calendar, we have high impact news right here at 6:45. S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. There was news this morning at 5:30. This is very, very unusual for what we're used to because there hasn't been news in like weeks, right? Almost a whole month because of the government shutdown. I was surprised to see that CPI actually came out because it didn't come out last month, right? So we got CPI out right here. We have S&P Global Services PMI, which is some more inflation news later at 6:45. See, here's the thing where I'm kind of concerned because the entry here was for a buy, and it's a good thing we skipped it, right? Because we would have lost the trade. Um, the reason why I was concerned about that is because it's a buy entry and the inflation news was negative. So the news later at 6:45 is probably also going to be negative if it's going to follow what happened, earlier this morning. So, like I said, we're going to wait for the market here to kind of stabilize a little bit, and then I'll start looking for possible entries. There's another entry that happened right immediately after it, which is right here. Again, obviously another one that I would obviously not decide not to take because of the obvious reasons here. The next one's going to be at 6:47. So again, there's another entry coming up right here at 6:47. The main problem, again, is it's the same thing, right? You can see how price here is being heavily manipulated, right? Look at the market right now. What I realize is I actually want to get into the market when it's like dead and it's not really moving. Um, and I'll explain to you guys right now uh, why. Let me update this report real quick. It's weird that it's asking me. Okay, it's fine. Speak against momentum. Okay, so we got some time right now, right? 6:39. We got, I don't know, like 10 minutes until the next entry at 6:45 or 6:47, which I'm probably not going to take because of the news. But yeah, I mean, the probabilities aren't super great on this entry right here anyways. It's gonna be with momentum. All right, the data is a little skewed because I added another day of statistics there. So looking at this here, this is actually not an entry that I'm going to be looking to take. I know I had it as a target entry here, but I had to make some adjustments because the sample size wasn't correct. Last night I identified it with a 52.63% probability overall. It's actually a 46, so this is no longer on the list. It's too low of a probability for me to want to take the trade. However, you can see over here on the sells, it's actually a pretty strong entry if you're going to go directly for a sell. So overall, it has a 46.67 probability for buys and sells. And then looking over here for sell specific, it has an 83.33% probability. It's won 5 out of the 6 entries. So it's only lost once for sells here over the sample size. So I mean, it could be a good entry, but for me personally, not really looking to take it. Here's the thing: if you get a sell signal here, it's probably going to continue back down and fill this gap, right? Or this gap up. So that's something to look out for if you guys are looking to take it. Keep in mind there is high impact news at 6:45, inflation news. Okay, so like what I was saying about earlier, guys, you guys have noticed, right? Whenever we get into these algo entries, not specifically like the ones I mark up, but the ones that I actually enter into, right? You'll see, and I think I have a screenshot here from my previous trades. Like I found this to be this is super, super interesting to me because if you look over here, so look at our entries from the previous day, you can see that it almost like never goes into drawdown, right? It goes into drawdown maybe a little bit, but eventually just spikes right through. Like for example, this entry right here, right? We took yesterday, we entered that for a sell, it came all the way down. It kind of sat there for a little bit, but eventually it shot all the way down. And I was looking up the data because I was curious. I was like, I wonder how many contracts it takes to actually move the market, right? So like even move it a tick or 2 ticks or 3 ticks or whatever it may be. And I pulled up the data and I posted it in the premium chat over here. And it's pretty crazy because, right here it says that basically if you hit a market, if you hit the market with the market order,
Connection lost.
connection loss. So when you hit the market with a market order, basically to have an impact in the market for 1 to 10 contracts, it doesn't really move the market very much, right? For 20 to 50 contracts, it might move it like maybe just 1 tick. For me, when I'm entering for my hedge fund clients, I'm taking about a little over 100 contracts at a time. So I'm dropping like 100 market orders at once. And it shows over here that when you enter for 100 to 200 contracts, it usually pushes market at least 1 to 3 ticks or 1 to 3 points, basically. Um, and you can see over here, it's from if you look at the actual trades, because I screenshot all of them, whenever we get into a position, it has little to no drawdown because we're pushing the market a little bit. And when we push the market a little bit, and you can see right here, like literally all these entries, see how price we enter and then it just goes straight up. We enter right here, goes straight down. Right here, we enter and go straight up. What happens when we enter the position is that we're pushing price slightly, right? Just a few points. And then what happens is that all of my 100 contracts show up on the order book, and other people who are trading, they're bandwagoning onto my position. So they just basically piggyback my ride because I start the movement. Um, so I found that to be super, super interesting because, the hedge fund is very small right now. I only have a few clients, but we are growing. Like every day, 5 to 10 people are signing up to the hedge fund. And the thing is, my contract sizes are going to go up from 100 contracts to like maybe 500. So you can see over here, if I enter with over 500 contracts, it almost always moves market 3 to 10 ticks, which is 3 to 10 points. So saying that is like, for example, if I was to enter a sell right here at the 747 entry, we could almost not guarantee, but we can push market at least like 10 points or so, right? Like we can push it down 10 points. And if that's the case, it's all the orders are going to show up on the order book, and whoever sees those sells are going to bandwagon and piggyback on our move there. So that's like a pretty interesting thing to look at, specifically if you're a hedge fund client, because this kind of gives us a leg up. We're kind of moving the market slightly. And then later in the future, once I have like maybe 100 clients or so, we're going to be dropping like 1,000 contracts, and we'll really be pushing the market. We'll be moving it like a market maker or market taker in a sense, because we can push price 10 to 40 points, which is pretty interesting because we're going for 40 points. So if we can push price a certain amount of points, and then people jump onto our position in that direction, it's basically going to push it straight to our target. And you can see from our previous entries over here that this is pretty interesting because, see, like every time we enter a trade, it kind of blasts right through our target, right? Like, so for example, this one right here, it hit our target and went straight through, because the thing is we're getting in super early. And when people start to realize that we're already in the position, they start to jump onto our position here. That's why it kind of sits for a little bit. And then once people see the order book, they're like, okay, they put their limit orders right there for a break and retest, and then they push it down with us. So yeah, super exciting stuff, guys. Like I'm really curious to see how the fund is going to be pushing price as we, as I onboard more clients. It's um it's pretty crazy. It's crazy because people always talk about like how your one contract or your two contracts isn't going to do anything in the market. But if you're dropping like 500 contracts to 1,000 contracts, that is it's crazy. It's just because I'm going to be dropping like 500 contracts. Like it's just a matter of time until I start dropping that many contracts in the market. Um, Basically, I'll be moving the market as a market maker in a sense. So, and this is beneficial for a lot of the hedge clients because you're basically getting like a leg up. Like you're getting into a position at the prime entry because we're pushing in a direction, and then people are gonna hop on after we're already in the position. So, all right, guys, it is going to be 6:47 pretty soon. Let me check if that news event came out. Okay, so the news event, it looks like the news is actually coming out now, guys. So 6:45, this news wasn't canceled. It was actually positive. It was positive right there. Let's see. G's asking, what website did you find that information on? Honestly, I forgot. But you can ask ChatGPT, and it'll give you a source. So it'll give you the information, and it'll pull a source from like the website that it grabbed it from. But yeah, that's basically, and it makes sense because like, people aren't normally dropping like 100 contracts in the market at random. The only people who are really doing that are like the bigger players, right? Like institutions or hedge funds and stuff like that. So yeah, well, once I saw those numbers, I was like, man, that's crazy. It is crazy. Let's see. Daniel said got the 636 for 40, entered at the whole number. Nice, nice. All right, so Daniel got in that earlier entry at 636 right here. He got in at the pullback. So price pulled back right here. He got in at the whole number and rode that thing all the way up. So nice work, Daniel, on catching that right there. Okay, so the entry right here at 647, guys, it's going to be with momentum. So again, it's with momentum. It's a buy entry though, so this is going to be not a super great entry. It has an overall probability of 46.67. The probabilities for buys here are very low. It's 22.22%. So it's basically only won two out of the previous nine entries. So I personally wouldn't recommend taking this here for a buy. If you guys want to take it, I mean, feel free. But I'm not going to be getting into that position there, of course. Next entry is going to be at 648, the candle right after. 648 with momentum. Let's check the statistics on that one. So there's technically a trade running right now. This is going to be the 647. I personally wouldn't take this one here because the numbers just don't line up with what I'm looking for. Typically, for me to take a trade, I need it to be above 65%. So there's going to be another follow-up entry right after this, the 647. I'm sorry, 648. We got the 647, which is running right now, and then this is going to be the 648 right after. They're both buys. But yeah, like I said, guys, I'm going to hold off because we had high impact news here at 6:45, and then we have more high impact news here at 7 o'clock. So we got new home sales and Michigan consumer sentiment. I'm gonna let this news come out, and then once the news comes out, I'll look for entries a little later. Yeah, my target entries are like down here anyways. I mean, there's one at 709. I don't know if I'll take that one. I mean, we'll see what happens based off the news that comes out. It's with momentum, so it's one that I like to take. Another one here at 721, and then another one at 723, and then a couple more down here, 735, 751. So like I was saying, guys, earlier, I prefer when the market's actually dead. So see how it's kind of dead right here? The reason why I like it when it's dead is because when I drop 100 contracts here, I'm going to push price up like a few points, right? And when it pushes up a few points, if you guys like to look at order flow or you guys like to look at the market book or the depth market or anything really level two data where it shows my orders coming in, you're going to see that there's a big player, which is me, and I'm dropping 100 contracts at this given time. So when people see that on the order book, they start to piggyback the ride and then they try to ride it up with me, right? Because I'm starting the momentum there. So. That's why I prefer when the market's dead here because when the market's dead, when I drop 100 contracts, it's going to actually move the market, right? I don't want to compete against other funds. Like I don't want to be competing against other institutions and other hedge funds because obviously they're dropping more contracts than me, right? Like someone who can move the market like this, like for example, this huge candle right here, this person is probably dropping like thousands of contracts, right? Even with this current candle right here. See this big red candle? This red candle pushed down about like 20 points. So they probably dropped like 1,000 contracts right now. I don't want to compete with them. What I want to do is I want to start the movement and then I want them to piggyback my ride. So I want to get at the very top or the very bottom and then push it up a little bit and then let them ride that with me. Or whoever wants to ride it with me, they can piggyback onto that ride there. The more and more that we trade off the data, the more and more it's starting to make sense how these hedge funds operate, like these bigger hedge funds. They all kind of work together, right? I feel like a lot of them they're in communication with each other and they're like, hey, we're gonna drop 1,000 contracts right now. So once I drop that 1,000 contracts, you drop your 1,000 contracts, and then what happens is we get a big spike in price, right? Because it's hard for like one person to make this whole move because they're putting in block orders for their clients. Um, yeah, I mean, like looking at this over here, now that I'm looking at it from a quantitative perspective, like for example, this big drop right here, this is like a 100-point candle, right? Oh, that was an opening candle, so that doesn't count. But I'm saying like a regular candle like this right here, like this red one. This thing pushed down like 50 points. So I'm assuming like either one fund dropped two block orders right there for it to drop down of like maybe 500 to 1,000 contracts. They might have split it up. Or, if they're working together, like this right here, I see these as two funds fighting each other right now. Like I wouldn't want to be in between that because one fund dropped price down and then the other fund pushed price right back up. In order for price to move very fast like this, there has to be a lot of orders coming into play, right? There has to be a lot of orders coming in. Like the market just doesn't move without orders. People are entering buys, people are entering sells, because they're taking liquidity from the market. That's the difference between a market maker and a market taker, right? A market maker is providing contracts, so they're selling and people are buying from them, right? Vice versa, when people are buying and taking from the market, that makes them a market taker. So for example, right here, this red candle. This was probably um, a market maker because he was selling his contracts, and then this person's a market taker, and they were probably on opposite ends of the contract. Like one fund or one hedge fund or institution was like, okay, I'm going to sell this many contracts but I need you to buy them from me. So they sell these and the other fund buys them. And that's why, it's the simple general idea of like supply and demand, but except you're kind of looking at it from a fund perspective, not from retail. Retail traders are moving the market, right? Just be real. And if you're trading on Apex, you're not moving the market because you're not in the actual market. You're trading like fake contracts. I'm talking about like people who are trading live contracts, like on live accounts, because they're actually participants in the actual market. So, just something to keep in mind, guys, when you're looking at this here. It's just something to keep in mind, of course, because we're all trading on the same exchange for the most part. We're all trading on CBOT. All right, so let's see what we got over here. Okay, solid. Yeah. So over here at 646, looks like Talanji got into that position earlier. So 646 entry was against momentum. Talanji actually got into that for a sell and it went straight to his target. Nice work, Talanji. That was also my target entry, but like I said, it was right at news, so it wasn't one that I was personally looking to take right there. 646, I had that right there against momentum, 63.16% probability of it winning overall. For a 1 to 2 target entry over here, 75% probability of it to sell, and it won 2 out of the 3 recent Fridays. So pretty solid, pretty solid right there. I mean, I would have skipped the trade because of the news, but looks like Solange caught it. Yeah, Solange said I was expecting positive news to bring manipulation down. Justice said missed the 646, but took the L on the 647. It's all good. It happens. Um, yeah, for me personally, you can see how price is getting a little bit manipulated here, where it's kind of just going back and forth. When I see this happening, I prefer to just stay out of the market because I don't want to get caught up here. Yeah, Justice said still new, but I like what I'm seeing. Yeah, you just got to play your probabilities correctly, right? Like that for that entry at 647, I already saw it as like market being a little bit choppy, so I was kind of sitting out of that one. But it's all right. You learn as you go, of course, especially if you're new and you're not really familiar with it as much, but it's going to start to catch on and you're going to be able to see these patterns here. All right, so it's 6:55 right now. The next entry is at 7:09, guys. We got some time here. Let's see. Visual said 1,000 contracts at market order. They're not going to fill at one price. Yeah, exactly. I agree. So that's the downside. Visual said you might see even 1 or 5 points away from entry. So you make 1,000 on one account, you'll make 800 or less on the others. Yes. So to that point, the good thing about us is that we're going for a 40-point target visual. So like if you look at my previous entries over here that's going to be the risk, right? The risk is that some accounts aren't going to get the full profit if I pull out early. But if you look at the trades here, usually they blast right through, right? So even if they get out, they get in at like bad entry, it'll usually push an extra 10 to 20 points. So see right here, like say for example, this person, like half of the clients will get in at actual entry and half the clients will get in at like 5 or 4 points, right? Because we have momentum on our side, it usually pushes down another 10 to 20 points. So it's enough to get them to their full target, even if they get in late. Because what happens is when my trades execute on the client accounts, they set their own targets. So like wherever they get in from, it's going to set it to 40 points. So yeah, they might be off by a few points, but if it blasts right through, like for example, right here again, see it kind of pushes right through an extra couple points. It allows them to get that full target still. Like same with this one right here. See how price hits the target, but it blasts out like another 20 points right there. And then same with this right here. Price just shoots right through it. And then same right here too, shoots right through it. So yes, it's that's going to be an issue due to slippage and liquidity. But as long as we have enough momentum, because we're only going for 40 points, if we were going for a 100-point target, then different story, because that's a big move. But we're only going for 40 points. So if we can push price a certain amount and then we can get it a little bit past that 40, they're in a good place. So that's why I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen once we drop that many contracts, because I'm curious to see. how much slippage is going to happen and how far their price is going to push. Instead of the 40 points, it might push 50 points or 60 points or 80 points, enough for the client to get out at ideal profit. But either way, even if it's cut down by a few $100, that's I think that's okay. That's because we're doing a 1 to 2, so it's still going to balance out to be being close to where we need it to be at. Let's see. Sam said it's 50 points away from the all-time high. Are we at the all-time high right now? That's crazy if we are. You're actually right. Wow. This is a crazy market, right? We're at an all-time high with everything that's going on in the world, government shutdown, um, the war with Israel and Gaza, I mean, there's so many things going on around the world, the tariff news, all that stuff. We got all this crazy stuff happening in the world, and we're at all-time highs. That it makes no sense. Literally makes no sense. Inflation's up, and we're at all-time highs. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to complain, right? I don't care if it's at an all-time high or if it's at all-time low. We're going to keep using this algo to identify the patterns in the market. So, we're just looking for those little inconsistencies in the market or consistencies to kind of pave our way to profit here. But yeah, it's crazy that it's at an all-time high, even with all the crazy stuff happening around the world. Like you'd expect with the tariffs, and the inflation, the price would come dumping down. I guess it did dump down a little bit, but the correction is undefeated. Yeah, essentially it seems very strange. Yeah, I've been saying the same thing for this whole year, or actually for the previous years. We just been pushing the all-time highs over the past, 3, 4 years, and we're going through a lot of this market turmoil. It just doesn't make sense. I've talked to fundamental analysis, I've talked to different investment bankers. I'm like, does this make sense to you? And they're like, no, it literally makes no sense. But, everybody's still making money off it. So most people don't care. I mean, we don't care either because we're day traders, right? We're not holding on to these longer positions. I'm kind of curious now because I'm holding a gold position. Nice. Okay. So, on my FTMO account, guys, what I'm doing on the FTMO, my swing account, I'm just buying dips on gold. So every day I'm just making like $1,000. I'm just buying the dip, holding on to it, letting it push up, and then moving my stop loss and profit throughout the day. And then if it pulls back and stops me out in profit, that's fine. And then I just buy back into the dip whenever it dips again. Um, yeah, that's what I'm doing with my swing account. Let's see. Wolf is asking why always Dow Jones Futures and not SPY or NASDAQ? Mainly because I've just been trading YM for the previous 8 years. So I've been trading live every day, same time every day. My edge is between 6 and 8 trading the Dow, and I've pretty much really understood how the asset moves and how it works. So for me personally, I consider myself a specialist at YM. And I feel like that's a big problem with a lot of people. A lot of people want to trade everything, right? They want to trade YM, they want to trade NQ, they want to trade ES, they want to trade gold. And what happens, they just suck at everything, or they're mediocre at most. So what I would recommend is, find one asset that you really like to trade and just drill down on that asset. Understand how that asset moves, understand the market cycles, understand how it changes, understand the volatility, understand the movement, right? The ATR, what's the average ATR for that specific asset? Because once you understand all those moving pieces, you can really, really pull a lot of profits from just one asset. Um, it came to a point where I was like, man, I kind of want to trade gold too, but going between gold and YM, I realized that I'm really good at YM, so I should just stick to YM and just increase my contract size on this specific asset and just scale from there. So it doesn't really matter what asset you trade. I mean, there's really no argument. You can make money on any asset. But for me, I would say stick to one, right? Like before, I used to trade like 40 pairs, right? When I traded Forex, I used to trade 40 pairs. And yeah, I would make pretty good profit overall, but I realized if I just stuck to one asset, right? If I just stuck to like Euro USD or if I stuck to like USD JPY or 80 or any of those assets specifically, I could have probably made a lot more money because I would have understood how that specific asset moved. Um, when I've been trading for over 12 years now. So what I realized over these 12 years is you should never chase the money, right? let the money come to you. And that's what we're doing here, right? I have these time set up, so I don't even care what's happening in the market right now. As we get closer to 709, I'm going to see if my setup set comes up, right? Um, yeah, I mean, it's just a different perspective, right? Everybody looks at the market differently. Some people like to have a wide array and they like to have diversity and diversification with the assets. But for me personally, I realized over my time of trading, it's better to just be good at one thing versus versus being it's like that saying, right? It's like jack of all trades, master of none. I'd rather be a master of one than to be a jack of all trades. And what that means is, there's people out there who try to be good at everything, but then they end up sucking at everything. Um, and the opposite of that is, you know, being not a jack of all trades, but being a master of one thing. And that goes for everything. It's not just trading, but it goes for like everything in general, right? Like sports, if you want to be an athlete, you know, like we could use Michael Jordan as like an example, right? This guy tried he played basketball, then he played baseball. Dude sucked at baseball. Stick to basketball. It's like it's just it goes to show, it goes to show like it translates. Sports, business, trading in general. Just drill down on one thing and get good at it. Versus, was it Kobe? Yeah, Daniel said, unless you're Steph Curry, he's a phenomenal golfer too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you could be good at multiple things, right? But just not at everything. Like, if you want to be a good trader at YM and NQ, you can do that because they're different assets. Like, they're completely different. NQ is super volatile. YM is a little more calm. Or if you want to trade YM and gold, you can do that too. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things here. So let's see. G said check to see if you can enter your trades on the dark pool. Yeah, at some point in the future that might be the case. Where I can enter my trades on the dark pool. I'm going to be talking to one of the biggest futures brokers or one of the biggest brokers in general today, actually. I have a meeting with StoneX, which is one of the big, because we're currently using NinjaTrader. They're one of the big brokers too, but StoneX kind of like owns everything. So I'm going to be talking with StoneX today. You guys probably haven't heard of them before, or if you guys are familiar with the institutional trading space, you guys would know StoneX. They reached out to me because they saw my fund and they saw what I was doing and stuff, and they're like, we want to bring you on because I have like a lot of clients, so they uh they want me to bring my clients, like basically all my hedge fund clients, to their broker. So yeah, if that's the case and they can get me in on in the dark pool, then I'm all for it, right? Yeah, because if I can get in on the dark pool, we can get in at like pretty much good pricing. Like we're all getting at the same price. Because what happens is like we'll get in the position and then it won't show in the order books until later. So we'll see. I'm excited for that too, because hopefully they have some sort of incentive for me to use them, like more of an in-house solution for the hedge fund. Because right now I'm doing everything manually. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work handling everything by myself. But yeah, a lot of big things coming for the hedge fund guys. This is a learning experience for me because I've never run a hedge fund before. I don't know anybody personally who's run a hedge fund from scratch. So we'll be improving. We'll be, if we move from NinjaTrader, that's perfectly fine. Um, but it just has to make sense. It's just gonna have to make sense for me to make that move. Let's see. Masij is asking, is the 909 the time at Chicago market? Yes, that is correct. So it's Central Time. So 909 is Central Time. I'm Pacific Time, so it's 709 for me. The 2 hour difference. Let's see. Michael's asking ATR 31.75. Does that indicate sell pressure? No. So the ATR down here, ATR stands for average true range. What this shows you is the average size per candle for the previous 14 candles. So basically, like what's happening right now, this is the average of each candle. It's basically telling us that, okay, each candle that moves, it's going to move an average of about 30 points. So if you measure the candles here, you can see this candle is 30 points. This candle is 30 points. This one's a little more. This one's a little less. It just gives you the average. So like when you see this here, this can give you an idea of like how much price is going to move, right? Because the thing is, when you're entering a position, like for example, here, if we're entering a buy position, um, our stop loss is 20 points. So if it's moving too fast, like say it's moving like 40 ATR, that's going to be very tricky because um, if you're trying to enter a position and then it's moving too fast, it can easily stop you out before it goes to your target, right? So when the ATR is too high, you want to either sit out of the trade or you want to make your stop loss a little wider to kind of match the ATR. And that's what we use it for. We just use it to identify the average size of the candle. So guys, looking at the entry right here at 709, I'm looking at the market volatility. It's not looking super good, right? We got a sideways market right now. This is not good for a momentum, for with momentum, right? If this was against momentum, then I would have been okay to take it. But because the trade here at 709 is with momentum, we actually want price to be pushing up, right? We want it to be moving. Right now, because price isn't moving, I don't want to get into this position because if you guys enter this here for a buy and there's no movement, the problem is that this thing can go in limbo for a little bit and then it can stop you out before it pushes up. Like you don't want price to be ranging when you enter into a with momentum position. If it's against, that's perfectly fine because you're looking for price to reverse, right? You actually want price to go sideways and then reverse back down. So with this specific entry, guys, I'm going to sit out of this 709 entry for, I mean, obvious reasons right here, right? Price is just going sideways. If we had a directional move, then okay, great. I would hop into this and ride that wave to the upside. But because we don't have that momentum behind it, I'm going to sit out of this one. We have other entries here, so I'm not too worried. I'm just going to wait for the next opportunity to come up. But if you guys do want to take this entry, it's going to be a buy. The candle is going to close in about 5 seconds. And this right here is going to be a buy entry. Okay, so the entry right here is currently running. I'm not in the position, but like I said, I don't want to get in a choppy market because any pullback could stop us out. Our stop loss is way too tight right now, specifically. It's not a bad thing. We want to have a tight stop loss, but I don't want to get pulled into this chop right here. Not to say that this trade's not going to hit. This trade could very well still hit. It's just I don't want to put myself at that risk right there where there's uncertainty with the direction of price. So the trade's running right now in profit, as you guys can see. We'll follow it and we'll see where it goes. If it doesn't pull back, so say for example, if it holds above the entry point right there, I think this will push right to target. Right. Basically, what my algo is doing is it's identifying where these other funds are trading at, like where they're trading at consistently. So every day, pretty much. So basically, the previous 15 days. Let me see the stats over here. Yeah, so the previous 15 days, it shows that other funds and other market players in the market, they've been pushing price. Actually, okay, so I wouldn't have taken this trade to begin with because I was actually looking for a sell. But either way, so let's just look at the statistics here. It shows that both sides work, buys and sells, right? So for me personally, I was looking for a sell because it has an 80% probability of it winning here for a buy, right? Or for a sell, actually, sorry. It has an 80% probability of it winning for a sell, but it still has a 70% probability of it winning for a buy here. Personally, I don't like when it's balanced like this because I prefer it to be one-sided, right? I want it to either be winning for buys or for it to be winning more so for sells. Right here in my list, you can see that I was looking for a sell, right? I said it won 3 out of 3 recent sells. So if I was going to take this, I would aim for a sell. This trade here was a buy. So either way, I wouldn't have taken this trade. I already made my decision last night that I was only going to take a sell for this position. And it's a good thing I didn't take it because look, it would have lost. So this is how and why we use the data to identify um, our direction of trade. So guys, just make sure if you guys are part of the premium, I post this up in the algo chat pretty much every day. So over here, make sure that you're looking at my direction, right? So it's with momentum. I posted this last night and I said I was aiming for a sell. So because this here was a buy, either way, I would have just skipped it. I'm looking at the trade now. The trade's actually coming down for a sell. It wasn't a sell entry, but if it was a sell, it looks like it's now coming down from where we discussed. Okay, so next entry is going to be at 721. I haven't taken any entries today yet, guys. I've given my analysis of like why I've been holding off on entries. When I'm going with momentum, I want price to be moving. When I'm going against momentum, I want price to stay flat. So looking at this right here at 721, what I need to see here is I need there to be no sell signal yet. I need price to push up a little bit higher, consolidate, and then reverse. That's what I'm looking for. The reason why I'm looking for a reversal is because this entry right here at 721, it's against momentum, right? So, we talked about this before. The algo isn't going to give you 100%. You're never going to have 100%. Doesn't matter what strategy you apply. You have to just use your probabilities to your advantage. So I'm pulling up the data right here for the 721 entry. Ideally, what I want to see here is I want price to actually go up a little bit and then consolidate and then reverse. So here's the data for 721. It has an overall probability of 73.33%. So basically it won 11 out of the previous 15 entries. And then over here, again, I don't like this, that again, it's one of those entries that it's good on both sides, like, but it's okay. It's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's just, I prefer it to be one-sided. So over here, you can see the buys win 71.43% of the time. So 5 out of the 7 entries won. And then for sells here, it has a 75% probability. It won 6 out of the 8 entries. So with that being the case here, I mean, obviously I'm going to lean for a sell. So I'm looking for price here to stay stagnant, basically stay flat, or even push up and then stay flat, and eventually reverse back down. Not using price action or not using technical analysis, but using the data over here to identify that. All right, so we are continuing to wait here for that entry. It's currently 7:14 right now, guys. So we got some time here until it gets closer to 7:21. Let me check the news for today if there's any other news to look out for. I think that's about it. So the news came out right here at 7 o'clock. This was another reason why I've been skipping trades this morning. So 5:30 we had CPI, 6:45 we had S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, Services PMI, Composite PMI, and at 7 o'clock we had Michigan Consumer Sentiment plus new home sales. So a lot of these entries here that we were looking at, they just came up around the time of news. So you can expect market manipulation on those areas. So. All right. Looks like we're just waiting for this next entry here at 7:21. I'm gonna grab some water, guys, and I'll be right back. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, but I'll be right back in a few moments. All right, guys, I'm back. One thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, because it's getting closer to the date, is the Ninja Trader Cup. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there's a competition going on. Let me see if I can look it up. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty cool. So, if you guys didn't hear, Ninja Trader is having a competition. It's the Arena Cup. You guys can join in if you want to. I'm signed up for it, so it starts on November 2nd. It's gonna be pretty cool. Basically, there's 400,000 in cash prizes. Basically, we're gonna be competing with everybody. So, um, it's gonna be interesting because I'm gonna be competing in here, and I'm gonna be using the algo, and we're gonna be showcasing the algo on there. It's gonna be pretty intense. Because if the algo keeps doing what it did in October, I think we could win this competition. It's gonna be it's gonna be pretty crazy. Um, Because yeah, you look at the stats that we've had for the year, and if this does the same thing for November, it's going to be crazy because we're competing with like literally everybody. They have teams from everywhere. They have teams like Tradeify has their own set of teams, and then everybody has their set of teams. I guess we could qualify as a team too if everybody wanted to do it. Um, but yeah, the way that it works is, let me see if it has details here. Yeah, so it starts on November 3rd. Um, so there's a first week qualifier. Basically, like if I do well the first week or whatever first couple of weeks, so we have the qualifier and then it's not this one. Let me see. It's the one with Tradeify. So they have their own. The reason why I didn't like this one here specifically is, or why I couldn't do it was because they don't trade YM for some reason. You can only trade ES. But let me see if they have the one. I think it's Ninja Trader, Tradeify, Cup. Oh, there's the Grand Cup. So if you guys have a Tradeify account, you get to compete for free. So it's called the Tradeify Grand Cup. It's hosted by Tradeify. Um, it's pretty cool. So like basically week one, you build the account, no eliminations. You get an option to reset 3 times. And then week two, bottom 30% of the traders get knocked out every day. So it's gonna be pretty fun because they have all these teams here. Like these are the teams that are gonna be competing. We don't really have a team because we're just not as big. We're not an influencer. Like all these guys are influencers. So I'm curious to see uh how we rank up against these guys, right? Basically, so first prize gonna be 200,000, second prize gonna be 120,000, third prize. So basically, we're gonna be like you just have to survive basically. And the thing is, our style of trading is meant to survive, right? We're not meant to make a shitload of profits or lose a lot of profits. We're meant to survive the market conditions. So the thing is, if as long as I can make consistent profits with the algo and uh and survive to like the later rounds, we could make it pretty much maybe to like the top 100 at least. And it's going to be pretty interesting to kind of showcase. The thing is, I think once we start this here, because my trades are going to be live stream, I think what I'm going to do is I have to for sure turn off signups for the algo. So if you guys want access to the algo, you have to make sure that you guys get your access um, like before the end of the month, because yeah, I don't want like because if people are going to be watching me trade, obviously is going to want access to the algo, right? Uh, and I don't want everybody using it, so. It's it's gonna be it's gonna be a pretty interesting test to rank up against everyone else. All right, guys, 721 right now. Market is still going sideways right here. So the problem with this entry is that I was looking for a sell, like I mentioned, right? So 721, it's against momentum. So for that reason, the entry here is actually going to be a buy. That's a problem, right? The reason why it's a problem is because I was looking to take a sell here. Because it's a buy, I'm not going to be taking the trade. However, the buys here are still not that bad. They could still play out pretty solid. So if you guys want to take this entry here, you guys are more than welcome to get into the 721 entry. But again, because my criteria was requiring that I was going to take a buy or a sell here, I'm going to have to sit out of this position because I am like I already made my decision to take a sell last night. So I'm not going to get into this position here. If you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys. But like I said, if the trades don't line up with what I'm looking for, I'm not going to force any entries here. I'm only taking entries that line up with what I'm actually looking to take. So if you guys want to take this entry, I mean, feel free. I'll follow it for you guys there. But I'm not taking it because I wanted to take a sell here. Pretty much all my decision making is done the night before, right? So here at 721, it has an overall probability of 73.68 overall for a 1 to 2 risk to reward, 80% probability for sells. And again, that's why I skipped the trade there. AG, yeah, yeah. No, I saw your message. I mentioned that. I said, yeah, I have a meeting with StoneX, which is one of the biggest futures brokers or just broker in general. Not really broker, but they're a clearinghouse, so they clear the trades. I have a meeting with them later today at 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna see what solutions they have. They said they do have solutions for my hedge fund, and I'll ask them, yeah, if they can, execute my trades on the dark pool in bulk orders or block orders. If they could, then that'd be great. I wouldn't mind using them. Um, Yeah, I mean that would be cool to get the orders in on the dark pool, and then so we could get in at good price, and then it shows up on the books a little later. So I'm gonna try to do that, but we'll see. I gotta talk to the rep today at 1 o'clock. Yeah, I mean I gotta find a better solution. NinjaTrader is good and all, but when I'm trading like hundreds of accounts, it becomes a bit of a problem, slippage, liquidity, etc. Because the thing is with NinjaTrader, they're not a clearing FCM anymore. They're an executing broker, but they're not actually clearing the trades. They go through dormant and like another clearinghouse. Let's see. Jesus said, my NinjaTrader account was denied when I submitted it last night. Anything I should watch out for that could be denied for? Um, so, Jesus, when you sign up for the NinjaTrader account, uh, there's that question, right? There's that question that where it's going to ask you if someone is managing or controlling your account. Just put no for now because I'm going to get your power of attorney anyways. So I'm going to get like you're going to sign the agreement and I'm going to get a form that says that I'm going to be trading your account and I'll be sending that over to them. So if you might be getting caught up in that area of the application because it's like it's weird when you fill out that application, then they ask you for my social security and my ID and all that stuff. But obviously, I'm not going to give a random person, not that you're a random person, but uh, I'm not going to give them my personal documents like that. So yeah, just put no for account manager, and then I will send them because I'm already in contact. It's an ongoing issue with everybody who signs up. I'm gonna be in touch with new accounts at NinjaTrader and with their compliance, and I'll be sending over the documents because you're gonna sign the same document through the agreement anyways. So that's one thing that you might want to check, Jesus. It's either going to be your net. There's a couple of things that are going to raise a red flag. It's your account type. Make sure you're doing an individual account or an LLC, depending on which one you prefer, not a joint, right? If you're doing joint, then that's probably where you're getting denied. The other thing is your net income, right? You got to have like a decent amount of income so I'm not going to say overstate it, but you know, put a little higher than what you normally make because you want to show that you have money to trade. The other third thing is going to be your experience trading. It's not very important, but obviously, you want to put that you actually know what you're doing. And the third thing is going to be the account management question. So, a couple things to look out for when you're filling it out. Account type, net income, where your income is coming from, trading experience, and the account management portion. I'm assuming it's probably the account management portion, which is triggering the red flag. It's like an automatic trigger. That's probably why they denied it so fast. Let's see. So the entry over here for a buy, I think, is it still running? I think it got pulled out, right? Yeah, I'm not in the position. So the next entry over here, guys, we got a couple entries here that are still kind of coming up, following it up. There's a 723, 735. Yeah, these are all against. So there was another one that followed up right after. It was at 723 actually right here. This one is still running. I mean, either way, a lot of these entries here, I don't even know if I'm going to get into anything today, guys. If you look at the market right now, it's just very choppy, right? This is what we talked about earlier. I don't like when the market's choppy like this, unless you're going for a reversal, which we're not. Um, this entry was running from 722. It was against momentum. Yeah, I don't really like the choppy market right now. Let's see, the next entry is coming up at 735. So here's the thing with the algo, guys. The algo is good when the market's moving, right? Right now, it's not really moving. If you just look at it from here, let's go to the main chart. Okay, let's see. I'll show you guys, price is literally just ranging, consolidating right now. You typically don't want to take any momentum entries when the market is going sideways like it is right now. See how market's in a chop right now? You don't really want to trade when market's doing this because all of our algo entries are based off momentum. So what I'm looking at here now is this is actually good. I like that price is dropping down now. But I need it to actually break out of this area. See, without using price action here, I mean, you can still see just from a bird's eye view, like even if you were just to take an eyeball of like the market, you can see the market's just going sideways, it's chopping. Um, and the thing is, strategy doesn't work well in a choppy market because it's based directly off momentum. So that's why I haven't taken any trades today. I've just kind of been sitting back waiting for the market here to do something. Next entry is going to be right here at 735. So 735, it has a 53.33% probability of it winning in either direction. It has a 70% probability of it winning for buys. So obviously I'd be looking for a buy here. It won 7 out of the previous 10 trades. So in order for me to take this trade here, I need price to actually break above. So break out of this range and then climb above, and then I can get in somewhere above there if that provides me the opportunity. If it doesn't come up at 735, I have one last opportunity at 751. They're both for buys. So, I mean, if we don't get a buy signal from now until 735, then there's just not going to be an entry for 735. Because you can see over here for my stats, mark this up right here, for my stats right here. So 57.89% probability for a buy for using a 1 to 2 with momentum has a 72.73% probability, and it's only won one of the 3 recent Fridays. So, if you go back to the historical data over here, I think it's like the 17th. So 17th right here, it lost, but it was for a sell, right? That's fine because we're looking for a buy here. The last Friday before that was October 10th. It was also a loss. That was for a buy. And then the Friday before that was October 3rd. It was a buy right here and it was a win. So I'm looking to get into this here specifically. But again, if the entry doesn't come up, that's perfectly fine. I don't need to force any trades here, right? If the entry comes up and it's a good entry, I'll take it. If it isn't, then, it was a pretty good week so far, so I don't really need to force anything here. All right, so let's see. Let me go up real quick and just see if I missed anything. Let's see. Alad's asking, they allow you to reset the account during competition. I think, yeah, you can reset it during the first phase for about 3 times. So you could, that's kind of a dumb thing. Like I was hoping that they wouldn't allow you to reset. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like why would you allow someone to reset? They're just gonna yellow the account. That's why like I hate the fact that they're offering resets. Because it's like someone can just YOLO the account, try to make a shit ton of profit with like one trade, and then and then they just get lucky, right? I think they should have no resets, but I mean it is what it is. I'll probably go pretty high risk on the algo entries, or decently high risk, and then try to make it at least into the second phase here. Because if you make it to the second phase, you make at least some money. You got to think about it. There's gonna be thousands of traders doing this. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately they allow for resets, which doesn't make sense. They should have no resets. It should be a one and done. You screw up, then you're done. Uh, I think people are going to complain about that, honestly. I think for that competition, a lot of people they're gonna gamble and they're gonna try to get lucky on 3 trades to get a ton of profit to start off. And then people are going to complain. They're going to say, oh, there shouldn't have been resets to begin with because people they cheated basically trying to catch those extremely large moves. Daniel said you should put all your target entries on a different screen so you're not advertising your algo. Yeah, no, exactly, Daniel. I think in the future, so in the future, I'm just going to be looking at my entries through the Discord because I post them up here. So I might just not post my list, my algo entries on the screen anymore. I'll just leave them, and then we'll pull the data from the Discord. I'll just pull them one by one. I think that's probably going to be the best thing, right? So it doesn't show to the public what I'm looking for and what I'm focusing on. Let's see. Justice said, just want to make sure on the algo. Okay, perfect. Maria answered your question. Thanks for Maria for helping with that. Ed's asking, Sean, does Apex one day to pass mean you can pass with one trade, or you still have to have a consistency rule? So no consistency rule. You can just pass with one trade. There's actually a lot of people here. I just saw a couple messages. Um, I think it was Craig. Yeah, I think this is you, Craig. Your username is Bunny Sniper. I mean, I just know it's you because I could see your picture. Yeah, it looks like Craig over here, he passed his account trading CPI. That's how they get you though. Like, you can get lucky doing it, but if you're not lucky, it's easy to just blow your account. But yeah, nice work, Craig, on passing your eval, trading off the news. There's nothing wrong with that. I've done that before. I think for my first accounts, I actually did that. I used to trade news both directions, buy and a sell. Whatever direction price went, I would I'd make money on it. Yeah, Brock said, I feel like resetting doesn't make any sense. I agree. Oh, yeah, Daniel said during the competition. Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. Michael said a guy just won the Patrick Whelan's BDH competition that way. YOLO'd one day and went up 76,000 for the win. Yeah, and I heard a lot of people complained about that too, right? On that previous competition. So, I mean, either way, people are going to complain. I'm going to complain. It just doesn't make sense to have it during a competition, but it is what it is. Let's see. G's asking, Sean, have you ever looked into Venom trading? No, never. Let me see. I'll look them up real quick. What is Venom trading? Oh, Cobra. Okay. Yeah. So if Venom trading is the same as Cobra, I have heard of Cobra before. I don't know if they trade futures though. Let's see. I'm looking at it. It's Venom by Cobra Trading. Let me look. So guys, the entry right here at 735, it is going to be a sell. So unfortunately, looking at this right here, I was looking for a buy. So I'm not going to take this entry. It's a short position right there. You can see the probabilities are not good for a sell. It only won one out of the previous five sell entries. It has a 20% probability of winning. Probabilities are not lining up with what I want. I would rather have a 70% probability. But because this here is a sell entry, there's obviously not going to be a buy there. So yeah, let me take a look at Cobra trading real quick. Yeah, I know a lot of people who use Cobra, but they trade stocks and equities. Oh, they have futures. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, no, thanks, G, for the heads up on this one. I'm gonna be in contact with a lot of different brokers and clearing funds, and because I'm trying to figure out where I can get the best executions and best pricing. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, because I've heard of Cobra, but yeah, like you said, Venom is a futures version. Okay, cool. I'm gonna actually gonna contact them right now. Yeah, thanks, G, for the heads up on this one. I'll email them after. It's just kind of hard finding because I'm trying to figure out what has like the best solutions for hedge fund CTA, and I'm just new to the space, so I don't know what's good and what's not. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a look at this, G. Thanks for the heads up. I'm gonna email them. right after. Your email won't get lost in your inbox. Send a message hello or email us. Message, hi, I am a CTA managing. Like to go offer block orders for my clients. What else do I need? Fees, execution. Awesome. 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 Thanks, G, for the heads up. Yeah, I just sent Venom a the hell? Let me just send them an email. Gave me an error. All right, let me just email them real quick. All right. Corporate trading. All right, cool. I sent them an email. Yeah, so I'm looking right here at the 735 entry, guys. You can see the buy over there would have worked out perfect, right? Because I wanted to take that buy entry. Unfortunately, it wasn't a buy, so I couldn't take it. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I could not have taken that trade there. It would have been nice, but there was no buy to take. So fortunately, I skipped out on that trade there. All right, send them an email. Yeah, so right here, you can see at 735, I was looking for a buy entry. I said aim for a buy of taking. It was a sell, so unfortunately, there's no entry there. But it looks like if it was a buy, this trade would have played out perfect. It's all good. There was no entry there for me, so obviously I didn't take it. But that was what I was looking to take there at 735, right? So I already make my decision the night before. You can see the buys here had a 70% probability of winning. Sells had a 20%, so it just wasn't worth the risk. I was going to jump into this trade here for a sell. All right, our next and final opportunity for today is going to be at 751. So I'm looking at this over here. I mean, this could be a nice setup if it actually continues in that direction. So we got price. It's kind of broken out of this range a little bit. I mean, not really. Basically ranged over here, faked out, and now it's coming back into the range. So what I would like to see here, ideally, is price to break the other way, actually. Or actually, I don't really care. I'm okay with it kind of sitting right here for a bit, maybe range back down, and then come right back up. Like that works out for me. Either way, I'm looking for a buy. Here's the orb from today, guys. If you guys look for the orb, the retest actually didn't happen. So price never came back to fill the order. But if you took the break and close past, see, this is why I stopped using the orb, guys. The orb is a good strategy sometimes, but when it doesn't retest, you're kind of screwed because you'll go days and months and weeks without any entries, right? And that's it's like it really messes with your psychology. You're like waiting all day, every day for these trades, and the trade just never shows up. And then you start to make mistakes because you start to get FOMO, or you start to get, you feel the need to trade, and then there's just no trade for you to take, and then you end up making the wrong decisions. That's why for me, like I liked the orb for a while, but eventually it just wasn't the type of strategy that I was willing to wait for. Oh, man. My trader sync is super annoying, but whatever. Let me see if I could. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm just gonna do some things, some upkeep right now in the background. I always gotta update my trader sync. Nice. So Craig over here, this is who I was mentioning earlier. Craig, he passes Apex 150 with the CPI news. It's the only time I full port anything on Apex. To go back to, okay. Cool. Yeah, so Craig passed his challenge right there, or his eval. Great work, Craig. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to update my, man, how many times I got to update my trader sync? It's super annoying, but it's all good. It's all good. We got the next entry here at 7:51, guys. We got about, I don't know, 8 minutes or so. It's about 8 minutes till 7:51. I'm hoping we get an entry there. If we don't get an entry again, I'm not forcing anything, so I don't need to take anything here, but I would love to get an entry before we sign off for the week. Either way, whatever entry I get, well, so if I take the entry at 7:51, whether it's a win or a loss, I'm still in profit for the week, so it doesn't really put me in a bad position, right? Because we won on Tuesday and we won on Wednesday, so we're doing a 1 to 2, and we have um, opportunity to to risk on that trade. So we've got 6 minutes till 7:51. Also, I don't want the market to get flat, right? So right here you can see how market's getting flat. This is a with momentum trade. So because this trade is with momentum, I need price to actually be moving. Like ideally, I'd like this to maybe pull back a little bit and then push back up, right? Basically like a head and shoulders pattern. But if we don't get that, I mean, that's fine. Either I need price to just keep pushing up higher and higher, or I'd like price to kind of pull back a little bit and then swing right back up. Because we need to have some volatility in the market. I can't just get into it and not actually, have any momentum behind it. So that's what I'm waiting for. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. I'm just kind of waiting until 7:51. I'm doing some updating with my trader sync because it keeps doubling up my orders. Yeah, it's like every day I gotta go through trader sync and do this. It's like the thing is I really like the platform though, and I've already paid for it, so I'm not gonna move to another platform. But it's just a little bit of a headache having to go in here and make these adjustments. All right, the volatility here is not picking up. We still got a couple minutes. We got about 4 minutes here, so I'm gonna wait and see if the volatility picks back. If it doesn't pick up, guys, again, I'm not gonna force any trades here. We've had a great week and a great month so far, so there's no need for me to jump into anything unnecessary. Mm, okay. All right. I think everything here is good to go now. All right. So let's see. Just gonna drag this over. This is my trader sync. All right, so yeah, this is my calendar of statistics for the week so far, guys. For the week and for the month. I've only taken one trade on Tuesday and I took one trade on Wednesday. I took nothing yesterday and today. I mean, I'm trying to get into something today, but if this here doesn't move and it keeps going sideways, I'm not gonna risk it. There's no need to risk it. It's not really worth it. Yeah, Daniel said if this buy come entry comes up, it's going to have to push past the all-time high to win. And Barack said exactly why I'd rather sit on my hands. Same here. That's why I'm not too concerned. Patricia said issue is you need to see what the margin requirements are. Ninja has the lowest intraday of them all. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Patricia. Especially if you want to go in with like, the minimal risk. And it's hard because if that's the case in the other brokers or clearinghouses, if they don't have that low of a margin, then you might need more than 10,000 minimum to trade with. So yeah, I'm gonna figure out, Patricia. I'm gonna meet with a lot of different clearinghouses and different brokers, and I'm gonna see if anything's a good fit for us. See, Brock, sorry, bro. I just saw your messages. Oh, I know. Yeah, Brock said, I know it's crazy how many are on here now, right? I uh I didn't even realize, bro, until you mentioned. Let's see, Sioux City. I think it was part of this of asking if someone is managing the account. Everything else was the same, and I got approved instantly. Yeah, I think that was probably the case. G said he has a free version of his course, has a lot of information. Maybe he can help you with the dark pool stuff if you contact him. Oh yeah, yeah, no, Lance Brent, yeah, Lance B. Yeah, I know Lance B. I was really getting close to like joining into his community because I was kind of curious to see, how he trades and stuff. But yeah, I'm in the free version already with Lance B. I'm gonna look into it and I'll see what he has to say. Yeah, I was thinking about jumping into his program just to kind of have an idea of like how he traded at those funds. That's kind of how I came up with the idea with the algo, right? Basically, what I did is I really studied people who are really killing it at trading and had a really distinct edge. And that's how I came up with the momentum strategy and how I came up with the algo just in general. All right, guys, 751. Again, if you look at the price action right here and the volatility, this is not the type of market to be getting into right now for like a tricky entry, right? I think this here is going to be very tricky, so I personally am not going to take it. The probabilities here are they're okay. They're not like amazing, right? It has a 60% overall probability for a win for buys and sells, and it has an 83.33% probability for or for sells here. So actually, now that I'm looking at it, the buys here are actually not that strong. It's because I changed the data by like one day. So if you guys want to take this for a buy, the probabilities are actually not that high. It's a 60% overall, 44.44% probability for a buy specifically. So yeah, I'm probably gonna sit out of this entry. If you guys want to take it, I mean, feel free to take it. I'll mark it up for you guys here. I think I'm just gonna sit out. I'm good with my profits for this week. Yeah, in order for me to take a trade here, I typically need at least a 65%. So I usually aim for at least above a 60 for overall, and I look for above a 65 for directional. This here doesn't meet my criteria. It's actually better for a sell. I think I might have just mistyped this. This was actually for a sell. So my bad, guys. That was my mistake here. And it wouldn't matter because there's no sell entry here to begin with, right? The trade here is for a buy. So either way, I think this trade would have been skipped. So not in this position. I didn't take anything today, guys. So with that being said, here are my profits for the week. I'm pretty much done trading for the week. So for this week so far, I took two trades, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, both wins. Total profit for the week was 74.450, or sorry, 74,450. For the month, I'm up 401,370. And then for the year so far, I am currently up 1,017,025. Net profit is more around closer to 900K. It's at 892,439. My profit factor is 1.6. I'm basically doing a 1 to 2. I started doing 1 to 2 like halfway through the year, so it's not going to reflect it very much, but it's going to be better. So if we start to the year to date next year, it's going to be more of a 2 point profit factor. And then my win percentage is about like 63.99. So not too bad for a 1 to 2, pretty decent. And these are my stats from January 2nd up until today, October 24th. So you guys can see my equity curve right here. Did pretty good from like January 1st or January 2nd up until April. This is when the tariff news came out. We kind of had like a break-even choppiness. And then I picked back up right here. And then we had some more tariff news happen right here at September. Had a couple losses. It's kind of getting beat up with the orb strategy. And then I started using the algo here on September 29th, and it's been like pretty crazy push to the upside from there. So pretty solid, pretty solid overall. But yeah, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. Like I said, so the sells here look good, right? If this was a sell entry, I would have taken the entry. But because it wasn't a sell entry, obviously I would have sat out of it, right? Because if you went against momentum, the probabilities are just not that high. Yeah, it was a 25% probability going against momentum. But if you look over here, so let me just show you guys real quick. So like right here on my statistics, I was looking to take the sell here if it was to come up. The reason why I looked to take the sell is because right here it had a 56.25 probability of it winning overall, which is not high enough, right? In order to get on my list, it has to be at least 60. In order for it to be a target entry, it has to be above a 65%. The reason why this was able to balance out was because even though it had a low overall, it had a high directional. Right. So 56% on overall, but 83% for shorts. It won 5 out of the 6 entries. With that being the case, you average this out, it averages to above 65%. So with that being the case, if we did get a sell entry here, which didn't come up, I would have taken the entry, but because it was a buy, I ended up sitting out of it because it did not meet the criteria. So yeah, guys. I mean that's about it. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to let me know. Maria said end of day. Have a nice weekend. Thank you, Sean. Definitely, Maria. And hopefully we can kick off your account on Monday. And Rick said learning to sit on my hands. Yeah, that's probably the best decision there. Asij, yeah, great weekend you too. And I'll see you back here on Monday. But all right, let me see if there's any other questions here. See if there's any other questions here as we continue along. Let's see. Wolf said, wait, so you made half of your profits this month? Yeah, this month, because we've been using the algo since the 29th, right? So every day this month, we've only been using the algo. So yeah, we had a pretty crazy month overall. All these trades were taken live. They were all taken here on these live sessions. Um, It's just been on fire. The thing is, like, we take multiple trades. So, for example, like on a Wednesday last week, we took two trades. We had one loss, but we had one win. And because we're doing a 1 to 2 risk to reward, I was able to recoup that loss and still make profit on top of it. We've only had 2 red days for this entire week. So it's been crazy. But yeah, I mean, so let's go over here. Let's start from January, right? So January was kind of slow. I mean, it was decent, made 72. February made 95. March made 200. So March was another good month, made 242. This was another good month with majority wins, just 2 losing days. April, this is when the tariff news came out. This was our first red month for the year. Lost a little bit right there. May, we made a decent profit. It was more like a break-even month, made 14 right there. June, we made 50 on this month. It was like an okay normal month. July was a pretty good month. We made 167. August was another good month. We only had one. We had very minimal trades. We only took a couple trades this month. We only had a one red day though, so it was 133. September was a bad month for us. This was when the market was super choppy. We had the tariff news. It was just market wasn't moving directional. So the orb just kept losing because it would stop us out before it hit target. This was probably my worst month in forever, probably. And then October, we had an amazing month because I started applying the algo from the 29th. So it's been green, green, pretty much all green for this week, one red, green, one red, and then all green for this week here. So yeah, I mean, this month has been, this is why I'm excited to continue using the algo moving forward because it's just crazy. The numbers are insane. And just using this algo pretty much every single day. And the thing is, I'm not stressed out about my positions anymore because I don't even have to look at the charts. I have the set times for me to look. So I just look at when my entry comes up, and when it comes up, I'll decide if I want to take the entry or not. I'm not analyzing anything, not doing any technical analysis, no price action, none of that stuff. What I realized over the years, and just by coming up with the algo, is that the price action and technical analysis, it's there to confuse you guys, right? Because you can analyze it in so many different ways. Like there's so many ways to analyze this as a break and retest, right? Like a good amount of people are going to identify this as a break and retest off the support, right? Then you're going to have another group of people who are looking at this as a fake out back into the range, right? So it's like hard because like what's really right here, right? There's nothing that's right. It's like this could be right for break and retest, or this can be right for a fake out and push back up. So for me, I prefer to trade off the probabilities and just based off the data because the data doesn't lie, right? You can't, there's no discretion here really. The only discretion is whether you want to take it or not. But if you look at the numbers here, the numbers tell you exactly what's likely to happen because you have probabilities on your side, right? As long as you have an edge and you have probability, you're never going to be 100%, but you could be more confident that you're taking a trade that has a higher probability than not, right? Like for example here, I would take the sell versus the buy because I have an 83 edge. I have my edge here is about like, 30 points or 30% versus if I take a buy here, my edge would be actually negative. So just something to keep in mind. I think the algo here works. I mean, it's pretty incredible, like what we were able to come up with. Let's see. Wolf is asking, how long do your trades usually go for in minutes? So I have the statistics over here actually. So for all of my profitable trades, right here, the average winning time is about 12 minutes and 29 seconds. The longest winning trade took 40 minutes. The longest losing trade was 13 minutes and it was an average of 3 minutes. So like usually if the trade goes against me, like within the first 3 minutes, probably gonna lose a trade. But my holds here, they range between 3 minutes and 40 minutes usually. So I mean all my broker statements are on here. If you want to look at my broker statements, they're on the Discord. I'm required to post my broker statements now because I'm registered as a professional trader. So I posted my balance history right there and then also my performance. So this is all straight from NinjaTrader. This is a real account. This isn't a prop account. This is my personal uh or one of my personal accounts. And I'll probably be posting broker statements weekly, if not monthly, because I kind of have to now. I kind of have to because it's like public information now to be 100% transparent with my algo. So all right, guys, I think that might be it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Wolf is asking, how did you come up with the algorithm? So the way that this algorithm works is basically it's my breakout strategy, but it runs every minute now. So before we used to take the breakout strategy only on open, but I pretty much coded it into an algorithm where it runs 24 hours a day by the minute. So my algo over here pretty much tracks the probabilities of my breakout strategy running every single minute of the day. And then it takes a sample size of about a month or longer, just depending on like how long I want the sample size, right? Like my sample size is right here. So I have a custom date range, but I can go 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, 100 days. Thing is like the bigger samples don't really matter because the market edge changes like pretty much by the week or by the month. So I only go for like about 2 to 3 weeks because market's always changing. So you don't, the only reason you'd want to backtest this far is to see if the strategy is actually profitable, right? That's the only reason you want to backtest that far. If you're using it in real market, once you have confirmed that the strategy is profitable, then you go down to the smaller sample sizes and you see how it's actually moving during current market. Yeah, no problem, Wolf. Let's see. Question from Ryan. Ryan said, "Yo, I ran the algo for 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock and gave no entries. Is that common? I know usually you don't run it after your trading time, so just curious." Yeah, usually because between 8 and 9, the market's too dead, Ryan. I mean, you can see right here, right? Look at how market's moving right now, 8 o'clock. The market's pretty much dead, right? And because you're basing it off momentum, if the market's dead, you're just not going to get any inches around those times. Here, let me go over here real quick. Let's go to 8 o'clock yesterday. Yeah, usually between 8 and 9, the market kind of dies out, so there's just no entries around that period. So let's go. This is yesterday at 8 o'clock. Market it from right here. So 8 o'clock until you said 9 o'clock, right? Yeah, see how the market here kind of just ranged back and forth? This is probably why the probabilities are so low because in order for the algo to really, pull high probable entries, you need the markets really be going down or for it to be going up, but like consistency, like consistently going up and down, not going back and forth. So yeah, that's normal for 8 to 9. That's why I stopped trading at 8 because the volatility dies down and there's no entries around that time. Patricia's asking, Sean, who helped you with the algo? Surprisingly enough, nobody. I did it all by myself. I learned how to code PineScript. Yeah, honestly, nobody helped me with the algo. I was usually my brother helps me because he knows how to code, but I didn't want to bother him to help me with it, so I just kind of learned how to code on my own. There's a whole PineScript like toolbook and stuff like that on TradingView. Um, I did use ChatGPT a little bit to kind of help me build a foundation, but once I built the foundation and I cleaned up the code, then I was able to just kind of add and remove things as I liked, right? So like for the algo, I actually have a lightweight version of it. That's how I'm able to pull the data so fast. Like you can see over here when I pull the data for mine, it's a little faster because I'm not using the screener. I took the screener off the chart because that's what takes forever for it to load because the screener has to pull the data from the actual chart. And then I have a lightweight version over here where it's just a tester. So yeah, surprisingly enough, I learned how to code within a couple months. I just had a drive to make money. Honestly, that was the thing. I was like really, really hungry to make more money from trading. And I was like, man, I got to figure out how to do this algo. The thing with the algo is like I didn't want to share the code with the public, right? I didn't want some random coder to have my code for the algo because you can see how powerful it is. Um, so that's why I was like, I'm gonna have to do everything in-house and figure out like I need to figure out to learn how to code so that I can code it without sharing my code with a random person. And that's how I did it. I'm not a great coder, but that's why the code still kind of sucks. It's a little slow, but I'm trying to improvise and make it more efficient, and it'll just get better over time. Yeah, so Brock's done for the day. Yeah, Patricia said, yeah, really not even your brother. Honestly, I could bring the code to my brother and he can clean it up for me. But yeah, I pretty much did it on my own. I was just, there's this one weekend where I was just like, man, I need to figure out how to like make this breakout strategy better. Because I was already doing it by hand. And I was like, there's got to be a way to automate this. So I figured out how to code it into a script where it pulls the data. So it's basically just my momentum strategy, but it's automated into an algo. Thanks, Brock. Elad said, Sean, can we convert the algo to bot trading too? I mean, you can, but you probably don't want to take every single trade a lot because, like for example, today I had all these entries that were lined up. Like majority of them lost, right? So you don't want to take every single entry. You still want to look at the market volatility to understand which ones to sit out of and which ones to take. Like for example, this morning we had news at like 6 o'clock or 5:30, 6:45, and 7, right? So we skipped these 6 o'clock entries for that specific reason. If you have it running automated, you could have taken all these entries and took a bunch of losses. So yes, there's a way to automate it, but I prefer not to. Give me 1 second, guys. My daughter's crying. I gotta go get her. All right, guys. Good morning from Alina over here. Oh man, she's holding on to me super tight. Come on, baby. You gotta sit down. She she's rolling now, so when I leave her there, she's just doing rolls, rolling all over the room. So she was rolling and just making noise. She wasn't crying. She was playing with it with Kai. Um, but yeah, let me see if there's any other questions here that I have. Thanks, Patricia. Yeah, you can see her. She's starting to do a lot of like actual stuff now. Like hold my hand and get all crazy. Hey, Barack. Yeah, Barack said, "Good morning, Alina." Barack Jr. says hi. Yeah, no, definitely. Maybe one of these days I'll travel to wherever you're at, Barack. Kids can meet. See, G's asking, that's dope. How long did it take you to learn how to code and make the algo? So I've been kind of learning how to code PineScript for like a long time now because, well, not really learning it, but I kind of understood the basics of coding PineScript because I created all of my indicators. So all these tools here that I use, I created them. I didn't create them, but I had a coder code them for me. But I understood the language a little bit. But for me to like actually learn the actual to code it myself, it took me like maybe like a couple weeks. Like a couple weeks of like small learning, and then one weekend I just everything clicked because everything kind of ties in together once you learn how, to do the basics. So it took me about like a couple weeks to get the basics down, and then like one weekend of like nonstop. Like I was coding from like AM to PM, and then everything just clicked, and I started to understand how to actually code it properly. So yeah, it took me, give or take, if I was to just focus, probably just it would take me a month if you really want to learn. But it's a lot of stuff to learn. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hop into the chat and ask any questions right now. Otherwise, it's 8:10 right now. It's you guys know it's Alina's time right now to play, so she's ready to start playing. So I'm about to get off this live. But anyways, here are my stats for the week, guys. Again, we took two trades for this week, two wins, zero losses. Total profit of 74,000 for the week, 401,000 for the month, and then for the year so far, we're currently up or for the year, yeah, 1,017,000 net 892. So I mean, it's been pretty good, guys. My goal was to hit a million. If you guys remember, we first started trading on January 2nd. I told you guys my goal for this year was to hit a million, right? And I traded live with you guys every day from January 2nd up until today, and we hit that goal. So I'm excited because next year, especially because we have this algo, um, I'm gonna aim to double that and triple that and quadruple that and even more. So it's gonna be exciting year next year for trading with us. But all right, guys, let me see. Andrew said you can vibe code a lot of it now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the code's actually not that difficult, guys. The Pine script is easy because they have a library, right? You don't have to do the back end of it. Like if you know what functions to put in, it's actually not that difficult. You just have to understand like what the functions do. I would show you the code, but obviously I'm not trying to show you this code. But the code is pretty long for the algo. It's a pretty long code. Uh, that's why it takes so long to load up. All right, let's see. Question from Arik. Arik said, quick question. If you lose one of your setups, do your stop loss for the day? Do you stop for the day or do you keep trading your way out of the little hole? I take 1 to 3 trades a day, Arik. So if I take a loss, I usually take another one after if it's available. Um, Here's an example. So let me go over here to last Wednesday, right? You can tell which trades I take two trades and which trades I take one. Because if I'm taking one trade, it's about like 30 trades or 40. So this day I took one trade. This day I took one trade. See on this day on the 11th or the 15th, I took 82 trades, right? That means I took two trades here. This shows you that I took one loss and then I took one win right after. So I took that first loss and then I made it right back with profit on top. On this day over here, the 16th, I took two losses. So you can see here I took 79 trades, but usually one loss would only give me a $15,000 loss. So I took two losses here on Thursday. And then you can see over here on Tuesday and Wednesday, I only took one trade. Usually one trade will yield me about like 42 to 30K. And then one loss will give me half of that. So like a 15, 20K loss. So yeah, I usually try to take, two trades in a sense. But all right, guys, just another reminder, if you guys want me to trade for you, if you guys, so here's the thing. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're signing up for the hedge fund and I'm trading the personal account, but then they're still trading their prop accounts like Apex and stuff like that. You guys can do that. I can trade your real account and you can get consistent income like monthly or daily through my trades. And then you can have fun with your prop accounts and you can still kind of trade yourself on those, but you have the benefit of making profits from me trading for you as well. So if you guys are interested in that, just go to the website. It's kodikaicapital.com. This is what the website looks like. Click on interested in investing right here for the interest form. This is what the form looks like. You put your information in here. Once you put your information in here, I will send it over to the regulators. If the regulators say it's okay for me to trade for you, then we move forward. If they say it's not okay, then unfortunately I have to turn you away. But that's kind of the process there if you guys want to sign up for the hedge fund. All you need is a minimum of 10,000 to cover the broker margin. And then from there, you can choose whether you want to do a flat rate management fee for the month or if you want to do a profit split. It's up to you. Obviously, the management fee are going to keep more of your profits because it's way cheaper than paying a split at the end of the month, especially if we have a really good month like October. Let's see, one last question over here from Jay. Jay's asking, are you planning to keep the current Zoom around with your hedge fund picking up? Yes. So here's the thing. The Zoom will still be around, but the YouTube might not be around as much because obviously we're not trying to share my trades with the general public, right? Um, so yeah, if you guys want to continue trading with me and following me live, just go to the website, the original website, kodikaitrades.com, click on live trading room right here, and that's how you get access to the Zoom. The Zoom will still be around because I'm still going to trade live every day. The only difference is the YouTube because YouTube is open to the public. That's going to be a problem because if I'm dropping like 1,000 contracts, with the hedge fund clients, we don't necessarily want everybody to know what we're doing, or else everybody's going to try to get in before us, right? They're going to try to basically undercut our positions. So yeah, we still got to keep it somewhat exclusive. All right, Martha's done for the day. Nice work, Martha, on catching that. Art said I won't have my money until May for the hedge fund. No worries, Art. It'll be open for you. There'll be a spot. I don't plan on closing the hedge fund. So yeah, it's just gonna keep growing as we go. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, have a great weekend, guys. We had an amazing trading week and we have an amazing trading month so far. So I'm excited for what's to come. We have one more week of trading for October. And then after that, we're going to be entering November, and I'm excited to compete in the Ninja Trader Cup to see how our strategy goes against everyone else. But all right, guys, that's it. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here on Monday.